Have you ever noticed that a small number of things have a disproportionately huge impact? Like how 20% of the people at a party create 80% of the fun, or how 80% of sales often come from just 20% of customers. This pattern isn't a coincidence. Economists call it the Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule. Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto introduced it in 1896 after observing that 80% of Italy's land was owned by just 20% of the population. He later found the pattern repeated across different countries and contexts. The Pareto Principle explains why wealth and resources concentrate. Today, the richest 20% of the global population control the vast majority of assets, actually well beyond 80%. But it's also a tool for focus, identifying 20% of the tasks that deliver 80% of the results, or 20% of the issues that cause 80% of the problems. It lets you achieve more with less effort. Once you start looking, the 80-20 rule is everywhere. In software development, 80% of the crashes and bugs often come from just 20% of the code. Companies like Microsoft use this insight to prioritize fixing the most impactful issues. Or take healthcare, where 20% of the patients typically account for about 80% of the healthcare costs, largely due to chronic conditions. Even crime statistics reflect the Pareto Principle. Law enforcement agencies have found that 20% of offenders are responsible for 80% of certain crimes. So by focusing their crime-fighting resources on high-risk individuals, they can reduce crime more effectively. So the next time you're trying to improve something, or do something, or understand something even, ask yourself, what's the 20% that's accounting for the 80%? Send this to someone who you think could use it, and follow along for next week's weekly dose of Econ.